everyone, and welcome again to yet another fantastic informational time with Girl Who Don't You Know? It's me, Marilyn Green, the hostess with the mostest, all right? And I'm here to transform your mind one show at a time. And you all know that I'm doing Pink Voices the whole month of October, but all of us know that breast cancer does not have a month, okay? It does not have a person. It does not have a career. It does not have anything. It can affect everybody anytime. Your uncles, your moms, your nieces, whoever. Everybody knows somebody who has been affected by this deadly disease wannabe. Okay, it's a wannabe. Okay, because we're not gonna go along with that deadly part, right? So today I have Dr. Nicole Robinson on here, and wow, does she have a story for you that I want her to tell you? So that guess what? You gotta go and get screened. It's simple. Just go do it. What's the problem? Just get your friend, and you all say, "Hey, this is going to have a girlfriend day, a man day, whatever you call it, okay? And we're going to we're going to go on out there and we're going to get this screening done because we all know that if you catch it early, the likelihood of not going through so much is higher. You don't have to deal with as much, so why not go? Don't say that no news is good news. No, no news might be bad news, right? So you need to get out there and get this done. So I'm going to let Dr. Nicole Robinson come on in here and introduce herself, and we'll go from there. So Dr. Robinson, how are you today?
I am amazing. How are you, my sister?
You know I'm there. I'm there. Okay. Thank you. Likewise, likewise. But hey, we know that you are a fighter, a survivor, and a thriver, right? I'm going to put you with all categories. And so, what I want you to tell us is that what started this journey? How did you know what happened with this? So, tell us about that.
Let me take a deep breath before I just go back.
Okay. All right.
I was initially diagnosed in 2014 with stage 2 breast cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It started with my normal mammogram, and interesting enough, that my appointment was scheduled on Valentine's Day.
Oh,
2014 Valentine's Day. Went in for my normal appointment. But months leading up to my appointment, I had noticed some kind of change in my breast. And when I
oh,
say change in my breast, I was experiencing some tenderness. But I was dismissed. I was one of those people who were very dismissive. I'm like, oh, I'm getting older.
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
aging. Why am my breast is a little tender here? But still, I went on and I dismissed that. But like I said, every year, I mean, I had my mammograms.
Mm-hmm.
So I was faithful to going in to get my mammograms, self exams. I had noticed a little change in my breath. Like I said, tenderness, noticed a little tenderness. Did I feel a lump right away in one area? But I still was dismissive. I was like, oh, what's that? But I still dismissed that whole self exam.
Okay.
So here it is. It's time for me to go into the doctor for my mammogram on February the 14th. I go
Mm-hmm.
in, and right then I have an ultrasound on my breast, and they said, wait, we see something. Let's go a little deeper, And
Right.
I'm like, okay. And so when your doctor steps out of the room and she goes to get another doctor,
Yeah. Mm.
right? And
Yes.
you begin to wonder, like, okay, what is this about? And so they're talking amongst themselves, and then so they say, okay, we're going to talk this out, and we'll get back with you. So still, right when I leave, they call me and say, can you come back tomorrow? Because that was at the end of the day appointment.
Okay.
Can you come back tomorrow? I go back tomorrow. Go back the next day. And that's when you hear all of the stories or the recollections of when they say, we see something on your breast, this might be breast cancer.
Mm.
right then and there, that's when it all began. You come in for a biopsy? Then you go in for the biopsy.
Right.
So that all began. Once that began and I got the results back from the biopsy, my life just really just shifted. It shifted when I first went in and they began to see something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But little did I know what I was about to embark upon as far as being diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. The cancer had already spread to some of my lymph nodes under my arm. Not knowing that, I at first opted as a treatment. So it was aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Invasive mammary carcinoma is the official word for it.
Wow. Say that word again, please.
Invasive mammary carcinoma.
Wow. Okay.
That's the official word.
Official.
And next thing you know, I'm going in to talk to an oncologist, knowing nothing about the terminology. At that time, I knew no history in my family who had cancer, breast cancer, none whatsoever. So everything was foreign. And so
Wow.
you've heard people saying everything goes mute and it's just words coming out. You're
Mm-hmm.
not really hearing what they're saying because you're still trying to process the word you have breast cancer. So you're still
Yes.
stuck in this loop. And so what they don't tell you is your life forever changes. I went through chemotherapy. We opted to do chemotherapy first in order to shrink the tumors in my breast, which is my left breast. I
Mm-hmm.
opted to do a lumpectomy versus removing the total breast. So they removed portions of the breast.
Okay.
So the
So,
goal was to shrink the mass to get
uh-huh.
as small as they could and
Uh-huh.
then remove the cancer. Right?
So tell me this. Tell me this real
Yes.
quick. What happened when you first heard you have cancer? Mentally, what happened?
Mentally, I'm going to say, why me?
Mm.
What
Mm-hmm.
did I do?
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
did I do wrong? Because I was always going to my appointments, you know, I was always
Faithful.
up on my health. I thought I was the
Yes.
healthiest person. So it was just like, what did I do? I thought I've always been up on keeping everything together. Because sometimes
Right.
we hear those stories where women who don't often go to get their mammograms because the discomfort that they feel
Mm-hmm.
when they have to go through the pressing of
Oh
breasts
yeah.
to get and
Yeah.
the pull, and so a little bit of discomfort, I'll take that versus knowing the journey that I was about to embark upon with getting
Oh
cancer.
wow. Oh wow. But you
So
also said something else that is no history that
none
you know of.
that I knew of at the time, no history.
Wow.
So it was all
Wow.
foreign. My mother, no history.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I went through, like I mentioned, chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
The amazing thing out of chemotherapy was I birthed the God allowed me to birth this beautiful organization, Hats for Hearts.
Yes, we're gonna talk about it later, but go
It was
ahead.
birthed. It was birthed through that whole
Yes.
experience. So I had the
Yes.
chemotherapy, I had the surgery, and then I had radiation. And now the radiation, wow, it was painful. Everything was just such a shift. You're mentally shifted because you're looking at your body of the person that you knew you were at first.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's this new person. Number one, you've lost your hair with chemotherapy. Who are you? You have no eyebrows, no hair, no nothing. So you're looking at this ghost of a woman, and I'm like,
Wow.
who are you? And then you have to look at yourself in the mirror, and your breast is now not the same. And you're like, am I still attractive? Is that all of these emotions that
Yeah.
you go through just trying to shift and accept this new person who you're being molded and shaped into as a result of a diagnosis, right?
Wow. Wow. So
Um,
listen, Dr. Nicole,
yes,
who helped you through this? Okay. I know
amazing.
you got some amazing in-law. I know one of them.
Yeah, amazing.
But amazing.
It
So
was
who
amazing.
helped you through this? I mean, because you look extremely well. She's not finished with her story yet, but she
Oh,
looks really, really like a picture of health. Okay. You do, girl.
you're
So tell
so
us.
amazing. Look, I thank you. Look, I give all the glory.
Glory to God. I tell you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So who
Absolutely.
was helping you through this? What
So
happened?
the thing when I was diagnosed, I was living in Los Angeles. And so I was the only one there. All my family was here. But the beautiful
Oh.
thing is how
Uh-huh,
they say
uh-huh,
it takes a village.
uh-huh.
When I was diagnosed, I had someone that came in every time I went to treatment.
Right.
Amazing. Someone would fly in or someone was with me, right?
Really?
It was amazing. My sister came in first. She was with me when I went to my very first treatment. But every time I went in for a treatment, someone was with me. That was the amazing thing because I thought, here I am in Los Angeles. Am I going to have to leave Los Angeles to go home? But everything was moving so fast. Okay, you have to get treatment now. Now it needs to start now. This is really,
Wow.
it's moving. It's already spread. So I was like, everything was just this rush. This is what you do. You didn't have a chance to think or process. It's just you go
Wow.
into this fight or
Wow.
flight mode,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And at the time, I was still in graduate school. I was adamant that I wouldn't drop out of my doctoral program because I had put so much into it. And
Yeah.
then near the end, I get breast cancer. And so I was like, there's no way I can stop now. And so this is the crazy thing. Before I switch gears, I would go to treatment. I would knew I have so many hours before it would actually really kick in. Then I would go to class. I
Mm-hmm.
knew I had to time it. Okay, you only have about 3 hours before your body begins to shut down as a result of the medication.
Wow.
Or I had begun to time it as much as I could to tolerate it and say, okay, I have to get home now because my body is about to. It was this. It's
That is
amazing.
such a story. That's what I mean, but you know what? Let's just go for the positive. You're excellent time manager. Okay. Let's go for that.
Let's go for that.
Yes, yes. So go on with the story. So I know this is not the end of it. It's a
This
lot.
is not the end, but what they don't tell you before I go in and shift my story, what they don't tell you is the cost of
Oh,
cancer.
the cost of
I'm talking
cancer.
about the cost. You got your mental, your physical, and the monetary piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell me what treatment would cost. I didn't know I was going to have to charge some treatment on my credit card because my insurance didn't cover it, right?
Wow.
It was just so many things happening that I didn't know existed. And then when you're thrust into it, you're trying to manage your health, but then you got this cost component like, wow, my insurance doesn't cover it. What kind of programs are out there? I mean, it's just so many things that my medical debt, that's a whole nother story that we talk about.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But as a result of that, I was doing well. I had finished my treatment. I was coming up on my 5 years as a survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to experiencing this back pain, right? So again, a few months, I had been getting on and off, had this back pain. I thought I was having muscle spasms, thought I pulled some muscle. I'm like, oh, maybe you're drinking too much coffee. You got to lay off that
Yeah, yeah,
Starbucks.
yeah. That's it.
So a few times I had been laid up just where I just couldn't move because of this
Right.
excruciating back pain. I've gone to urgent care, still having this back pain. And finally, I went in and I had told my doctor, I said, I've been having this pain on and off. We still didn't do anything differently.
Right.
One day I woke up, I had a lump in my neck.
Mm.
And this lump in my neck, it was hurting. And I called my oncologist. I said, I woke up this morning, I have this lump in my neck.
Right.
So immediately she said, come in, let's take a look at it. Here we go again. They had to biopsy the lump in my neck. That's how I found out that my cancer had came back. My cancer had came back and it had metastasized. And they call that metastatic breast cancer when your
Yes.
initial breast cancer then spreads to different parts of the body. So it can either spread to your brain, your lungs, your liver, or you have bone metastases. And that was what I had. It spread to my bone. It spread to
Mm.
a number of areas in my back. First, it was in my neck, my clavicle in my neck, my left chest wall, and then in my spine. So can you imagine me having to lay on the table again when they said we're going to have to do a biopsy, but this time the biopsy is in the neck and not the breast.
Wow.
And I could just remember laying there on the table and the nurse holding my hand because, again, it all happened so fast. And she was just like, it's going to be okay. And I can just remember that tear
Mm.
rolling down the side of my face,
Yeah.
saying, God, stage
What's up?
4? God, why
Mm.
me?
Why me?
It makes me want to
Yes.
tear up now when I think about it.
Just take, as they say at church, take your time. Take your
So
time.
I have been living with stage 4 metastatic breast cancer since 2018. I am a thriver. There is no cure for stage 4 metastatic disease. Normally, when you look at the textbook, a person with stage 4, they give you a life expectancy 5 years.
Mm.
The medications that they have out now, we're living longer, we're thriving. Another thing that they don't normally talk to Black patients about, which is a disparity, is clinical trials.
Yes.
Never in the process would I ever ask anything that I want to try a clinical trial. Never, never was
What?
asked about it. But for me, luckily, I don't sit in a chemo chair. I get treatment every month. I take a pill. I take this pill for 21 days and then I get a series of injections. And
Mm.
it allows me to maintain a quality of life. But I tell you, it's a battle. I have to get scanned every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I had an area in my spine that I had no idea had a hole. The cancer had eaten a hole in my spine. So I had spine surgery last year. And they had to inject cement in my spine to reinforce where the area where the cancer
Are
had
you
kind of just ate
serious?
into the
Oh my
bone. Yeah.
God.
So, you
Now
know,
that's a good one there. Okay. It's like, really?
yeah, yeah. So I had spine surgery last year, did a couple rounds of radiation as a result of that. And I'm fighting every day. So that pink day, breast cancer, my fight is daily. And I
Yes.
have to fight daily to stay in this peaceful, positive place because when you think about stage 4, I've battled depression as a result of it, but I'm always fighting to stay in this place to keep
Mm-hmm.
me at this peaceful place. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you think about the diagnosis and the prognosis of a disease, it could take you out,
Yes. Mentally. Mentally
mentally,
take you up.
mentally take you out. So it can
So
affect you in many ways.
have you sought counseling or
Yes. And this
yes,
is
so
this
do
is the
you
thing.
recommend that for
This
people
I
that's going
recommend it. And sometimes
okay.
we don't often talk about it in the Black community, like going to
Yes.
seek a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
And we think as women we can hold the weight all ourselves,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We're so used to juggling many things. And one day, it was actually during the pandemic when I
Mm-hmm.
realized, like, you know what? You've been battling stage 4 cancer. You need to talk to somebody. You can't handle this all your own. But I thought I had been doing this great job with managing my illness in silence. I called it suffering in silence, right?
Uh-huh.
And wow, is when I first during the pandemic is when I first talked to, had my appointment and talked to somebody and just began to work through what I was dealing with. So it's whew,
It's
something.
just a lot. It's a lot.
It
I
is.
mean, I've never had to go through this. Don't ever want to go through this.
Yes.
I've
Yes.
heard a lot of pink voices, okay? And
Yes.
every pink voice is telling me
Yes.
something different. I mean, the
Yes.
first pink voice was Sheila Marie Johnson. She
Wow.
came on and she came on Snapchat
Yes.
just to kick off the month of breast
Yes.
cancer awareness. And the
Yes.
thing that she said was just too much for me. She said that it was a burning
Hmm.
that was pressing on her lungs or something. Every
Hmm.
time she would laugh, I think, or something like that, that it would burn. And that was the
Yes.
cancer pushing up against. And I'm like,
Wow.
I
Wow.
mean, oh my goodness.
Yes.
So I'm saying that to say it comes many different ways. You
It
don't
does.
know. It might be over here. I always joke about senior citizens. They fall on their finger, they gonna break a hip, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's
It
our
does.
whole body is connected.
It
Okay.
is. And what we have to do, we have to listen to our body,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
It's always screaming, telling us something, right?
It is. It
And
is.
so we have to be responsible enough not to ignore those signs like I did early on. Like I have been experiencing some kind of change, but I chunked it up to be something else different. Oh, I'm getting older, oh,
Right.
maybe it's this. But always want to encourage women, women and men to do
Yes.
your self exams Go to your regular treatments. Don't put it off tomorrow. Don't say, okay, well, maybe, there's an appointment
Yes.
sometime. I can get another one in another year. I'll skip this. Don't skip that year. That could be
Hmm.
the year, the year that
Yep.
you skip. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's it. And
So,
I had in 2003, I had to have a biopsy based on
okay.
something that they found in the left breast. And I tell this story all the time. And that's the reason why I am so together with people who are going through this breast cancer issue,
Yes.
because I know
Yes.
when they did that biopsy
Yes.
and I had to wait the whole weekend, I was sick. I
Yes.
was just sick. And I was like,
Yes.
wait a minute,
Yes.
2003. Okay, I'm going to
Yes.
get remarried. My son is graduating from
Wow.
college. He's getting married. I mean, it was so much. I'm like, God, come on now. I know. I
Yes.
know. So what they did was they put a little marker in there or something.
Yes.
And they told me a little bitty, I don't know what they call it, but they told me that, well, you don't have to come, but every so I said, no, 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 no. I'm going every year.
No.
And I do. And I go to the same place every year.
Yes.
It's something about the calibration or something that I need you to see. I don't want you to say, well, we don't know where you were last year because we got to get the result. No, you got all my stuff
Absolutely.
in
Absolutely.
one place.
Absolutely.
Don't keep on going here, there, and all that and yonder,
Yes.
trying to say, okay, it's
Yes.
quicker for me to go over here. But they don't
Yes.
have your records. They can't pull
Yes.
your stuff. Am I right?
Yeah.
They can't pull your stuff up as quickly if you go to the same place.
Yeah. Like some systems you have, they're in what they call my charts, where
Yes, yes,
you know,
yes. My
which is the
chart.
new thing, right? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's a new thing, but it's important that you try to figure you. But let's talk about this real quick.
Sure.
We have got to start being more health literate.
Mm,
We
let
have
me tell
got
you.
to start to say, "I'm not feeling well, doc." Well, no, no, no. Insist.
Yes,
Okay.
that's where disparities come in,
Yes, it
because in
is.
our communities sometimes, and I won't just say in our communities, but sometimes a doctor may say, "Oh, let me just give you this." You
Mm-hmm.
may not even look it up. So when in the early stages, when I was trying to get my first treatment and my first diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
there was a drug. So when I got diagnosed with stage 4, there was a drug that would have caused more harm to my spine than it would help to benefit or strengthen the bone. So what happens, they call this method, is called the fail first method, what
What?
insurance companies do. So what insurance companies do is to help on the cost. They may prescribe you a lower dose or a medication, or what we call that, the generic drug,
Uh-huh.
and may not know your history, but it's called the fail first. If that drug fails, then they will allow you to get the real medicine. But if we
Wow.
don't know how to advocate for ourselves, so when they wanted, my insurance company denied me to get the medication that my
Mm-hmm.
oncologist prescribed.
Mm-hmm.
I appealed it a number of times, right? And said, no, how can you try to tell me to take a drug that may cause other harm? We sent studies, we sent everything, but they kept denying me. So here's where you have to become your own advocate. I began to say, wait a minute, how does an insurance company have a right to deny me I have insurance. That's what our insurance is for, right?
Yes,
Our coverage, our
exactly.
care.
Exactly.
I had to actually file a petition. I started an online petition against my insurance company and
What?
said, this is my treatment, my choice. In order for them to change their mind, I even went to my elected official and say, hey, my insurance company is denying me this drug. They're wanting to give me something else, not even knowing my history or
Right.
anything like that, which could cause other harms sometimes, right?
That's
Sometimes, and
scary.
we just take it sometimes as a patient, not knowing, and just say, okay, they told me to take this, I'll take this. But wait a minute. We have to also interview our doctors and make sure we have the right team, right?
Yes,
We have to make sure they're taking care of us properly,
that's
because
exactly right.
otherwise, that's when we can get caught up into those disparities where they don't tell you that there's a clinical trial that might be available that might help you live longer, right?
That's
They
right.
might tell a white person that this is available for you. This is everything that's available for you. But sometimes for a person may look like me, they might not give me all of the options.
They
Or I
will
might
not.
be on Medicaid. I might not have the best insurance. So they're
Right.
not going to offer me the top of the line medication. They're going to offer to me what they think that I can afford, which may be lower line. So there's so many disparities that take place, and
That's
we have to
horrible.
be our own advocates. We do. We really
We
do.
you really do. You really need to just, I mean, with all the information, the age information with Google. I mean, we ain't gonna say everything on Google,
That's
right?
right.
Okay, but it's a starting point
That's
because
true.
it's like anything else, Dr. Nicole. If you go into a car shop and you
Yes.
know one word as a woman, carburetor, they start to look at you different and they respect you more. I mean, you know me, I got analogies, but I'm
Mhm.
saying if you come in there and say starter, or I
Yes.
think it's my starter, it's not my battery, that blah blah. If you
Yes.
start talking and drop a few key words,
Yes.
they will start to look at you different
They
and they will
will.
treat you different.
They will.
Yeah, so if you go to your doctor
Yes.
and you drop, so what is this about? And what is this
Yes.
about?
Yes.
And don't take no for an answer. We
You
so easy to
don't.
listen to our doctor, and then when the doctor come in, what do? We listen, and then time they leave, they ask the nurse. Okay,
Yes.
no,
Yes.
you need to be ready with a list
You
and
do.
challenge your doctor. Challenge
Yes.
it because it's your health.
It
It
is.
is not his. It's your health. So you need to challenge and say, hey,
You must. You
you have
must.
to. You
You have
have
to.
to because if you don't challenge them, they just gonna give you any type of what.
Yeah,
Okay, and say
you're your
take
own
this.
your advocate. You have to be your own advocate.
You have to, and so increasing health literacy is something in our neighborhoods that we really have to push. You know,
Yes.
advocacy, health
Yes.
literacy, things like
Yes.
that that question things
Yes.
that you're doing to me. You just can't do nothing to me. And you know,
Yes.
people always will go back to the Tuskegee, but hey,
Yes.
Tuskegee is happening all
Yes.
the time. You just
Yes.
it's not in Tuskegee,
Yes.
okay? Because
Yes.
they are doing different things, and people might
Yes.
say, "Well, I don't want that medicine." You know, they ain't
Yes.
tested. Every medicine that you take, you're a
Yes.
test,
Yes.
okay? Because
Yes.
once they find out that it's doing something to a bunch of people, then they will recall it. Is that am I
Yeah,
right?
because
They'll
sometimes
recall it.
you have drugs. I can recall when I was diagnosed the first with stage 2, there was a drug that I was taking, and I can remember going to some advocacies for the FDA.
Mhm.
There was this drug that caused uterine cancer. It was
Wow.
actually letrozole.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, why would you give a cancer patient one drug that's going to cause another type of cancer? I could
Right.
never fathom that. And I can remember getting an opportunity to go to this forum, and they had some panelists there from the FDA, and I got to ask that question. And do you know the room went quiet when I
Of
said,
course.
"Why would the FDA approve a drug that you would give to a patient that would cause another type of cancer?" I just could, and it was like silence.
Silence. Silence. Everybody was like, "Wow, that's a good question." But
Like
another
me.
thing, if you listen on TV and they say this girl, the side effect that they say might cause death, might cause this, that, and the other. By the time you get finished, you be like, I don't want none of this. Okay. It might cause blindness. It might cause this. I'm like, are you serious?
I
You know,
understand. You know,
but
you're funny. You're funny, but I looked at something just the other day, a prescription that I got, and I was like, it said it's going to cause heart palpitations. I'm not taking it. So the first thing I usually say now, and I do natural things. You know, I do herbs, but I do it in concert with the
okay.
drugs. I just don't do a all natural. I take it in concert. I try different things.
Right.
And so the first thing I always say, what is it that you can give me naturally that I could
Uh-huh.
take
Okay.
versus giving me a drug? You know,
Mm-hmm.
because okay, let's be honest, sometimes they're pushing drugs. It's a business,
It's
right?
a biz. It's a big business.
Pharmaceuticals, okay?
It's a big business.
Let's just be honest on what it is and call it what it is. It's
Yes,
business.
it's
And
business.
so the first thing I always say, well, is there something that I could take naturally first?
Mm-hmm.
Man, do you know the kind of look you get sometimes if you don't have the right kind of doctor and be like,
What you
wow,
talking about? What you
exactly.
talking about, Willis? That's what they say.
Advocate.
What are you
Be your
talking
own
about?
advocate. Be
We
your
don't
own
do that
advocate.
here. We don't do that here. Now, Just going to take this script and go on about your merry way. It's ridiculous. I mean, they all I say all in cahoots. I mean, don't you got to quote me, but I'm just saying
I
that
know.
they all working together because it's easy to just give one size fits all. Everybody get the same medicine,
Yeah.
no matter what. But
Can I
that's
tell
when the
you?
help. That's when you have to make sure that you stand up, get your voice together. If you
Yes.
don't have a voice, get somebody
Yes.
who can be boisterous for you.
Yes.
But you
Yes.
have to make sure that
Yes.
somebody is speaking for
You
you.
do.
Okay. And I understand about depression and all that.
Yes.
Hey,
We don't like
you
to
can
talk
be
about it.
yeah, right. We don't want, but you can be depressed. But the person who's advocating for you, get somebody that ain't depressed,
Yes.
okay, and
Yes.
let them go for you and take them
Yes.
with you to the
Yes.
doctor.
Absolutely.
Take
Take someone
take them
or
there.
write it down.
Write it
It's so much
down.
information. I even went so far as we recorded, you know? It was
Mm-hmm.
so much information coming at you, recorded it, because I'm
Right.
like, well, what is that? And the terms like, can you tell me what does that mean without giving me the fancy name, the invasive mammary carcinoma? What is
Yes,
that?
yes, yes. What does that mean?
Right?
Right, right. What you talking about? What you talking about? Okay. But you know what? Everything that happens to people, there's always a ray of sunshine that comes out of it. And
Yeah.
I know you have an amazing, I mean, simply, I love it. Amazing non for profit that we're going to talk about now. Talk about it. Oh,
Oh
I
my
love it. I love it.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gifted with the idea when I was first diagnosed in 2014, like I mentioned before, to do something just to provide hope. And it just started off with me when I went in for my first chemo treatment.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever been with somebody or accompanied somebody when you have to go to treatment, it's just an open bay. So if you go to Siteman, they're just different bays and everything is open. They're
Mm.
like a number, maybe six, five, six chairs in the bay. And so you can hear everything that's happening with the patient. So you have a
Oh,
nurse that'll come in. How are you? How are you feeling? Are you depressed? They go through the whole history of things, and everybody can hear the conversation. So there's no privacy. Yes, you can
wow.
pull a curtain, but everybody hears what's going on. And so
Right.
when I went in, everybody was at different phases of their journey. Some people had already lost their hair. Some people were on the brinks of losing their hair. But I always tell people when I went
Mhm.
there, it was like this dark place.
Oh,
Like it just felt so heavy. And when I went there, here I came in, I was trying to come in with this attitude like, God, come on, lead me. What am I here for?
right.
Like,
Right.
and so I only thing I wanted to do was to provide hope. So
Mm-hmm.
that night I got treatment. I went home and I told my sister, I'm going to start a foundation. She was like, huh? Like what? Okay. I was like, it's going to be called Hats for Hearts. And she was like looking like what? I was like,
What are
hats,
you talking about?
we're going to give hats to patients who are losing their hair. Hearts are the patients, hats for hearts. And so she was just like, okay. And it's really been my ministry, my gift that's helped me through my journey as providing hope to someone else. And we started off just doing small events,
Yes.
collecting new hats and headwear for chemo patients,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we would take those hats, donate them to cancer hospitals, and it would just change the atmosphere when you walk in and say, would you like a hat? Would you like to
Mm-hmm.
try on? How about you try on this hat? And sometimes they would start off and be like, no, I'm not feeling good. And then you've turned into and lifted up the whole mood. Well, let me try this one. How do I look with this one? I'm like, oh yeah, you
Yeah.
look good with that one. Or
Yeah.
I can remember just removing my scarf and just so they could see I'm a patient too. I had no hair. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, but I'm going to try this hat. What do you think about this one? And it
Right.
was an amazing experience. It transformed into then doing some breast health where we invited and partnered with Sitemen where we would invite the mammogram van. So we
Mm-hmm.
started doing mammograms while we were collecting hats. And then so it just became to this advocacy thing for me. I was getting these opportunities just to tell my story and
Right.
just to tell and see how cancer was impacting me and how I was being impacted as a patient and how we're just talking about the same thing, how you your own advocate. And
Yes.
then I said one day, I said, it would be amazing to do a gala. That's how it started. I
And
think I
that
want to do a
gala
gala.
is something. It is
And I said the
something.
Pink Carpet Community Gala. And
Oh my
then,
God. Oh my
yeah,
God. I love it. I mean,
it's
it
amazing.
is so amazing. If you
Thank
haven't
you.
been to one, you have got to go to one,
So wait,
you
can I
know.
tell the audience to mark your calendars for next year?
Yes.
August the 23rd, Friday, August 23rd is going to be at the Marriott St. Louis Grand. It's
Okay.
going to be our sixth annual Pink Carpet Community Gala. And please look out for it. We hope you will join us. It's going to be amazing. We honor different patients, other
Hmm.
nonprofits, doctors in the community making an impact. But the best part about the gala is the fashion show.
Yes.
The
It
fashion
is.
show.
It was amazing. The
Yes.
fashion show, the fashion show was amazing. And
Yes.
let me tell you what else I love about it so everybody knows. They understand it's just not breast cancer, it's all
Yes. It's
cancer.
all cancers.
They
Yes.
respect all
All
cancers. Okay.
cancers.
So it's just
Yes.
not it's got the pink in there, right?
Yes.
But when you're
Yes.
dealing with cancer, you don't care what color it is, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We had pancreatic
you
cancer.
had
We had
prostate,
prostate.
you had it
Yes.
all,
Cervical. Yes.
cervical, but
Yes.
everybody comes, everybody have a good time. It's good food, it's good music. I love it. I plan to be there next year too. So I love it. I love it so much and stuff
Thank you.
because it just is respectful of just saying everybody wants to have good health.
Yes.
Okay. And it
Absolutely.
affects people different ways, but
Absolutely.
good health. Okay. But here we're celebrating life.
Yes. I
That's what
love it.
it's a big celebration of life.
Yes.
That's what I
Celebration of
feel.
life. Absolutely. Hope
Yes,
and life.
yes.
Yes.
Just life, But no, hey, this has been so good. And you always so good.
No, hey, can I tell the
Always.
audience to please follow us on all of our social
You
media?
do what you need to do. I was gonna give you some final words. Do your final words, girl. Do them.
So if you can, please follow us on all of our social media platforms. That's Hats for Hearts, HATZ, the number four hearts. And
Mhm.
we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Our website is hatsforhearts.com. Please go check us out there. And hey, if you see us and hear about us, please support us in the community. And always please be cognizant of your health. Do those self exams. Tell someone that you know who hasn't been in a while, sister, it's time for you to go. Don't wait any longer because your health matters. So thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Marilyn.
Always, always. Thank you. Hey, you guys, I always have to say, you can subscribe to Girl Who Don't You Know, or you can follow me on Facebook. I got so many things going on, but hey, just follow me, subscribe. I will appreciate it. Thanks so much, Dr. Nicole. And we will definitely talk soon. Okay.